Alright, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in this lesson we are going to look into the modeling of the structural members in robot software and Protastructure software. Please, as we proceed in the training, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please kindly do that in order to get updates as far as this training is concerned. So in this episode we are going to model all the structural members in robot structural analysis software and Protastructure software. So now the next thing we are going to do here now is that we are going to label the axes. These are the axes. We are going to label the axes. Like here we can label it A, B, C, D, E, and this one we can label it 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, which I have actually done here. You can see I have labeled the axes and I have the dimensions like this. So I will be starting with the robot structural analysis software. We are going to model all these structural members. So let's start. So you go to your desktop, and if you have the software, you just open the software like this. I'm using version 2020. Alright, so okay, I have this. So now the first thing you are going to do when you open the software, you go to the tools. Under the tools you go to job preferences, and you can adjust some settings there as you wish. I want my units in meter and millimeter, and these forces I want them in kilonewton. So stresses also I want to change it to kilonewton. Alright, so you can actually make changes as you want here. Also under the material, concrete grade, want my concrete to be in grade 25. Okay, you can adjust. If you want 20, you can adjust as you want. Alright, so for the design codes, you can adjust the design codes, but these are the default values. You can adjust. For RCC structures, you can change as you want, can make changes. So but for this training I'm going to just leave it like this. Now we click OK. Then you come to structure stories, then you leave it like this, define graphically top level, but you delete this current story, just delete all, then you apply, close. Now the next thing to do is to create the axis. To create the axis, you come to this axis definition, then under this axis definition, make sure you are selecting this Cartesian, and you start creating the axis like this. Don't forget, in our AutoCAD we have the axis like A, B, C, D, E along the X axis, and for the Y axis we have 1, 2, 3 up to 9. So this is how we start. For the X axis, we are going to enter these values, but there is a way it works. First of all, you enter the value for the origin, which is 0, like just like a coordinates thing. So you just this is 0, so you just add 0. So the next value, that is distance between A and B, that is 1.13. so you had 1.130, so you click add. So the next value now is going to be 1.13 plus 3.142, that is the distance from this first axis to this third axis. So you can make use of your calculator here by just pressing 1.130 plus 3.142, so you have 4.272, sorry, 4.272. so you click on add, and then the next distance that you have there is 754, which is 0.754. so you have this also to the current value, that is 4.272 plus 0.754, and you have 5.026. so you add, then the last one there is 1.297. so this value plus 1.297, we have 6.323. then you have this. So that is for X axis. Then for the Y axis, again you add the origin. Then for the Y axis, we will be starting from the bottom here. That's from axis 1 to 2. so we have the first distance here is 0.897. if I were you, I would write this distance in probably in a paper, so that I don't keep switching from robots to AutoCAD, so just to make it faster. So we have the origin to be 0, then the next one is going to be 0.897. so you had, so we have 0.90, that is still fine. Robot has actually approximated the value. So we have you add this to the next value, which is 0.533. so we have this plus 0.533, so we have 1.43. you have this, then followed by the next value there, that's 1. I've actually written the values on a paper, so I'm taking it from a paper. So we have 1.897. so we have 3.327. so you had, then plus the next value there, which is 4.447. that's 7.774. you had again, plus the next one there, that's 2.030. so you have 9.804. you had the value, then again plus the next one, 2.347. then you have 12.151. you had, then plus 4.5. you have 16.651. you have the value, and the last value says 0.899, and we have 17.6 0.55 hard. All right, now we go to the Z value, which is the height of the structure. So again, you first of all you have the origin, then followed by the height of the first story, which is 3 meters. So you had, then the second story. We are working on a 1-story building, that is ground, that is G+1 structure, that is ground floor to the first floor to the roof level. So we have a total height of 6 meters. So we have we had another 3 meter for the 6 now, and to make the stories 2. So the first story is 0 to 3 and the second story is 3 to 6. All right, so now for the Z value we change it to value. For the Y value we leave it as 1, 2, 3 like that. Then for the X value we change it to ABC. All right, so now we click apply, then we close. Now you will see that this axis label is actually the same thing as what we have in our AutoCAD. Make sure what you have is the same thing as something very similar to this. Now the next thing we are going to do now is we will start creating our structural members, starting from the columns. Now our job is going to be easier because already we have the layout of the structural members. So now we come here, we go to columns. Now you go to RC column. I have some existing members, existing sections of columns, but you can, if you want to change the dimension, you can actually go to, I'm using 230 by 230 column, but just for the sake of for the benefit of those who are making use of this software for the first time, you can actually change the sections here. You click here, then you come here, and this is showing 625 because we have set the grid of our concrete to grid 25 from the beginning. So we have this here. So this is where you can actually change, you can edit the section of your column if you are new to the software. Then here label, you can just change it. For now, let me just use ground floor columns. So you click on hard. B is our width and H is our, you have the width, the length and the width of the column, 230 by 230. Then you change the label as this, then you click on hard. When you have hardened it, then you close. And if you still want to add more, you can just maybe first floor columns like this, the same dimension. So I will just leave it and say hard, then I will close this. So here now I will just go to ground floor columns. So I will then come here, I will start from here. Now let's check the AutoCAD. We have a column on axis intersection 2 and A, that is A2. We have a column here and we have it like that, 1, 2, 3, then we have another one here. So I will just come here and this is 2A, so I will just drop the column here like this. I have another one here, I will drop it here like this. Then I have one here, I have okay, I think I think this is where I have one here, and I have one here, I have one here. So let me erase this one. All right, let's proceed. Go back to the ground floor columns. So when you have your layout like this in AutoCAD, it makes the work actually easier. So axis 4, we have columns all through the axis. So we go back to axis 4. So I have 1, 1, then 1, like that. Then axis 5, I have columns just along B and D. Now we have A, B, C, D, E. So we have it on, along B5 and D5. All right. So this is B5 and this is D5. Also we have here and here. This is our staircase area. So now we have here as well. So we just go like this. Okay, here we have it like this as well. So we go one here. Yeah, I think we are done. So we can close this. Mind you, this is our first story. That is from the, you can see we have 3 meters here. So this is our first story. If you go to the second story, you will see there is nothing there yet because this is the roof level. This 3-meter story is the first floor, while the 6-meter level is the second floor. So now at this 3-meter level, don't forget that our ground floor columns are these are our ground floor columns. Don't forget C1, but I intentionally included the first floor columns, but later on when we generate the columns to the second story, we will have to delete the columns back. So now the next thing we're going to do now is that we are going to generate these columns to the next story, and we will now come back and delete the columns that are not applicable at each story. So we can just can have a look in 3D what we have done in 3D. You can just have a look. So now what we are going to do is we can go to the front view of the structure like this. Then we can select all the members. You can rotate to make sure that you have selected all the members. Now after the selection, you come here, go to edit. Then we are going to copy all these columns to the second story. So you go to copy. Then here we are going to copy this way. This is X, Y, Z values. So since we are copying along the Z axis is along the height of the structure. So only the Z axis is going to be active. Every other axis is going to be 0. So X is going to be 0, comma Y also is going to be 0, since we are not copying along X and Y. So for the Z axis, we're going to have we're copying to the distance of 3 meters. So we have 3 there. So you just click on execute. Can you see? So we have, so you can close this and rotate it. So we have successfully copied the columns to the second story. So we go back to plan and delete those columns that are not relevant. Now for story 1 here, we are going to delete all these columns. So we delete all these columns that are not relevant. You leave the columns that are applicable to the first story alone. Alright, so we have these two left. Okay, so we have how many columns at the ground floor now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So make sure you have only the C1 and the C3 columns, and we have up to 12. So we have deleted all these C2 columns because they are the first floor columns. So now you can also have a look in 3D and be sure that you have done the right thing. Okay, yeah. So now we can also right click, go to rotate in 3D. Yes, like this. Alright, so now we go back to select, then you go to the plan view. Now under this first story, we are going to model the beams as well. So we go to, this is the beam. For beams, you click on beams. So now we can also edit as we want. Sorry, close this first. We're working on RC beams, so we have this already, but you can, for the sake of those who are still new to the software, you can just click here, then you go to the grade is ES25, then the section is RC beam. So for B, you just put this, then you're working with 230 by 450. Then the label, you can just say ground floor beams. So you click on add, then again you can just do for your first floor, or you can say roof beams. So if you are using 230 by 450, you leave it. If you are using 230 by 300, you adjust accordingly. But for this training, we just leave it as this. So you can also adjust the color if you want, maybe this. So you click on add, so you close this. Now we start with the ground floor beams. Alright, so we have a beam running from this point to this point. So in order to continue that way, you can just click on drag, so you can continue on the same axis like this. So when you are done, you can just uncheck this drag. Again, you come here like this. So these are you model your beams. Sorry, I didn't click on drag. Alright, so I will click this, then check drag, so you can continue on the same axis. Alright, I will uncheck, then go to another axis like this, then I will click on drag, so I can be on the same axis like this. Then I can uncheck again, come back here, drag, uncheck, then again from here to this point you drag. Okay, uncheck. Then here we have beam like this, you drag. Alright, you can uncheck. Let's come back here. Can drag it. Then you do this. Now again, let's do for the vertical. You can drag it. These columns that are showing red sign are the first floor columns. Protostructure is telling you that you have columns resting in those areas. So this is how you continue on this axis. Then you stop here, you uncheck, then you start here again, you drag. Alright, you uncheck, then you come back here, you drag. So you uncheck, then you come here, you drag. Then you uncheck like this and close. Now we are through with the modeling of the beam. So let's have a look in 3D. So we have this. Wow, this is interesting. This is interesting, but you know, we have not actually deleted those columns that are not relevant at the second story. So we go back to plan, we go to 6 meter height, that is a second story. So now we delete those columns that are not relevant. Don't forget, in our AutoCAD, if we go to the roof plan like this, you know, we don't have some of these columns here again, so we are going to delete accordingly. So here, like this one, we are going to delete it. Alright, so we are going to delete this. This. Alright, so this is what we have at the second story. You can have a look now in 3D. You can see So right now we go back to plan and model the roof beams. So we go back to beam, go to roof beams. So we start again. So we have beam from here to here. So we drag it. You drag it like this. Then you can uncheck. So again we follow the arrangement. We have a roof beam here, so we come here and just click here and here. Then we have one here, so we can just click here, can drag it. Uncheck. There's a staircase area, so you drag, then you uncheck, and lastly we have roof beam here. Alright, so how many do we have? We have along these houses 1 2 3 4 5 6. So let's confirm. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Alright, so we can close this now and let's have a look in 3D. Alright, good. So now we have successfully we are done with the modeling of the beams and the columns. So now let's quickly model the slabs. So we go back to plan. We go back to, since we have the slab on the first story, so we click down here, so we come here. So now for the slabs, we go to floor, then under floor you can adjust the thickness. Under here you come here and you adjust the thickness of the slab. If it is 150, you leave it as 150. So you can label it here and say ground floor, first floor slab. First floor slab. You can now out this, then you close. Now you come here and look for first floor slab. So you can make use of a rectangle, and we are working on horizontal slab, so you leave it like this. So let's start. Click here, here, here. Alright, so that is one panel. Remember we have 20 panels in the slab, so we model them one after the other. So we continue. 1 2 3. 1 2 3. 1 2 3. 1 2 3. 2 3. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we are almost done. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Then lastly we have 1, 2, 3, and we are done. So we can close this. Let's have a look in 3D. So we have our slabs here now. Alright, so we can now save our work. So I'm going to save it on my desktop. I will save it as practice, or should I say comparing Prota and robots model. Alright, so save. So don't forget to save your model this way. So we are done with the modeling of the reinforced concrete members. In the next episode we are going to load the members and run the analysis, but for now let's proceed to Protastructure. So I can close this. So now we will proceed to Protastructure. We're going to model the structural members also in Protastructure. So how do we do that? Don't forget, in the last episode we came up with a general arrangement plan which I saved as a DXF file. I think I saved it on my folder here. Yeah, general arrangement plan which I saved as a DXF file. So now we are going to export the file to Protastructure. So how do we do that? You open your Protastructure software like this. I'm using version 2021. All right, so I'm trying to enter my password. All right, so we have the Protastructure is loading. The software is loading. Alright, so now we go to new project. Then I'm going to enter the project as comparing underscore prota underscore robots underscore model, like this. So we'll be using under the template. You can select the Euro code. So you click OK, then the interface is going to load like this. So now this is the Protastructure interface. So what we are going to do now, since we already have our axis and our columns in place, we already saved this as a DXL file. So what we are going to do is we are going to import this into the Protastructure. So you go to DXF import. So you go to load DXF. Then I'm going to look for the general arrangement plan, which is this general arrangement plan. So we'll just click open. So I'm going to uncheck the beam. So I'll make sure the column, only the column is selected for columns. Then for axis, I have for axis. Okay. So I want to import the columns and the axis. I'll just click on import. All right, operation completed. Then I will just close. All right, so I have my columns and my axis in Protastructure, just like I have it on AutoCAD, just like this. So now what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to start editing the axis. This should be 1, so I'm going to update. Also, you can edit the axis altogether by selecting them like this and go to properties. Then you can just drag down and begin to edit like that. Also, you can just do it one by one. So this is 2, update, then close. So this is 3, update, close. Then this is 4. So you can be doing it like that. This is 5, update, close. So this is 6, update, close. This is 7, update, close. This is 8, then this is 9, sorry. All right, so for this is can just select everything together, properties. Then my A10 is A, my A11 is B, A14 is C, A12 is D, and A13 is E. Alright, I just close this. So now I have my axis in place. Also, you can verify the dimensions of your columns by just you right click, go to member table and go to column table. Make sure your dimensions are correct and your eccentricities are correct. 0 eccentricities, and my dimensions for columns 230 by 230, everything is correct. So I will just close. So now I can now generate another story. You come to these stories, right click, go to insert story. We'll be having 2 stories just like robot structural analysis. So we just click yes. So we have 2 stories. So let's generate the columns at the first story to the second story. So you go to the first story, then you go to stories, you right click and go to generate story. We're generating 1 to 2, so you select 2, then you click OK. So you process completed, then you close. Now this is the second story, which is the roof level. So let's go back to the first story At the first story, we are going to remove those columns that are not relevant to the story, like this column. You can press your control key and select all the columns that are not relevant in this story. So you press delete, make sure the columns alone are selected, then you click OK. Alright, now we can now begin to model the ground floor beams. So now to model the ground floor beams, you just go to modeling, go to beams, then you set the section size to 230 by the depth is 450. This 450 includes the depth of the slab, the beam and the slab. The beams and the slabs are monolithic, so we can begin to model like this, escape, then model for this axis, escape. One good thing here is that we can just, instead of doing it span by span, you can actually just drag along like that, and you will have your beams in segments, in different spans like that. Alright, so we just do for this as well. You can just drag it down like this. Alright, so for this also we just, do you want to split? So you go to yes, you want to split. So again you drag down like this. Yes, you want to split. So you drag down like this. Yes, you want to split. Remember, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to create the beams just exactly the way we have it here, like that. So you just take this one up as well. So yes, so close. Now we have our ground floor beams. So let's have a look in 3D. To have a look in 3D, you come to view, right click and go to 3D physical model. So we have this like that. So now we now go to the second story, which is the roof level, and delete all those irrelevant columns like this. You select, alright, so you press delete on your keyboard. Alright, so let's have a look in 3D. Alright, to rotate like this, you can just press on the you can right click and press down. You hold it down, then you can rotate easily. Now let's have a look. Is this correct? Yes. So now we go back to plan and model the roof beams. Now we model the roof beams. So again we go to beam, make sure you adjust the section of the beam like this. Now we start from here. Escape, 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 can take this one down like this. Yes, escape, take this one down. Yes, now close this. Now go to 3D. Let's have a look. All right, so now we have our roof beams in position. Now let's go back to plan, and let's go to the first story to model the slabs. For the slabs, you just go to slab and adjust the thickness just like the way we did in robots. So adjust it to 150 millimeter. Then for the loading, we have the self weight, which is a dead load of the slab already automatically generated by Protastructure. So for the dead load, for now I am just going to enter the additional dead load for the finishing on the slabs, and that would take care of loadings like screeding, ties, and some other additional dead loads apart from the partition walls. The partition walls we are going to do later. Remember, we did some calculations in the last episode. We did some calculations when we generated some additional loads, additional dead loads as a result of the partition walls. This we are going to include later, but in this episode I will just include the loading for the screeding and tiling, then some other finishes on the floor. So I will be using two for the purpose of this training. Then the imposed load, this is a residential structure. You can right click and you will see different values for different areas. So for this training, I will just go for this. This is residential and all that, general domestic use. So I have my 1.5. Then come back to general. Then to insert your slab, you can just use the beam region. All these other options, they have their different areas of where you can use them. So for now, we go for the beam region. So I will just begin to insert my slabs by clicking around the beams. Here is the staircase area, so we just leave it open like this. So you can close this. Alright, so you come back to slab and say set slab types automatically, apply to all slabs in the story. Okay, alright. So now you can go to 3D and have a look at the model. Alright. Okay, you can also adjust the story height from here. You can click on story, right click, go to edit story. We have the 3 meters here generated automatically by Protastructure software, so we don't need to edit anything again. We just leave it and click OK. Alright, so we have our model like this. So in the next episode, we are going to be loading the structural members and we are going to be running the analysis. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please, if you like what you are seeing, please don't hesitate to like the video and stay tuned for more updates. Thank you very much. Bye.